So this is HackLab. We're a kind of member technology space. So you can think of it as like a clubhouse for geeks. We have about 100 members. Each of whom have an RFID badge that gets them in the doors. They have 24/7 access, and they can come here at any time of day or night and use all the tools and equipment, and generally, work away on projects, and also just hang out and socialize with each other and learn from each other. There's a lot of learning and community that goes on here. And in general, we just, make fun stuff and have a good time.
Eric, you've got an interesting book there. Can you just hold it up there for a sec? So that is the Whole Earth Catalog from 1972. So tell me a bit about that.
I bought a copy of this on eBay because it was published before I was born, but it's a very famous book, part of the whole 60s back to land DIY culture. And it's essentially, it's kind of like a proto-internet in my opinion. So inside is just an enormous number of really interesting things, and then instructions for where to mail a prepaid check or whatever in order to get the thing back.
Right.
So it's this huge collection of tools and equipment and information and books and all kinds of stuff that this was the only way to find out about in the 70s.
Right. Yeah. So in many ways that's kind of a precursor to the hacker movement and the maker movement, right?
Yeah. Certainly there's a similar kind of DIY spirit and ethos. This idea using the tools that other people have developed and made available, we can do our own projects and lead our own lives. Basically hacking things and making them your own. It's just an attitude that you should be able to take apart everything that you own and figure out how it works and then put it back together again. And that if you're prohibited from doing this, then in some sense the object isn't really yours. It still belongs to the people that you bought it from. So this is the DIY Bio Citizen Science Lab. It's basically a chemistry, genetics, biology lab that is used to do molecular biology and all that kind of stuff. So there's everything you need here in order to do things like isolate and amplify DNA, edit and transform various species of bacteria. And then this is the sewing corner. So we just got this old industrial sewing machine, which we have to warn people, it can actually take your fingers off. It is super strong. It's designed to sew through leather at high speeds and things like that. We also have, of course, a serger and a regular domestic sewing machine. And then there's members here who are using these machines in order to make their own clothing and that kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah, so this is the dark room. It's a small room that has all the chemicals and equipment you need in order to do development of photographic negatives. And then also using the enlarger machine over here, you can create very large actual photos using your negatives and timed exposures. There's been lots and lots of projects here. We've had members make really cool wood inlay jewelry. There was a team this summer that made an autonomous sailboat. So it's the sail is about 1 meter high, and it has a bunch of sensors on board and electronics, and you can pre-program it to sail autonomously between GPS waypoints out in the open water, which is really cool. I also made a pie plate, so it's a round wooden disc with about 4,500 digits of pi in a circle on it that you can use as a cheese board or whatever, or ideally, of course, a pie board. Right. So members pay $50 a month, and that provides everything HackLab needs. It basically covers the rent, the electricity, the utilities, the insurance, all that kind of stuff. Nobody at HackLab makes any money. There's no permanent staff or anything like that. Everyone just volunteers, and we kind of keep the place together ourselves. Then of course HackLab is not the only makerspace or hackerspace in the city. There's at least a half a dozen others that I know of, including Site 3 and the Toronto Tool Library and Steam Labs and Maker Kids, and the list goes on and on.
Site 3 is a member-run shared workshop for art, technology, really anything people want to do here. There's lots of different members, a diverse set of members that work on many different sorts of projects, many different technologies.
There are people who heard about it from just randomly on the internet, or someone who wanted to do a project and was looking for a workshop and came across us. Maybe they took one of the classes and now they want to become a member so that they can just put some of those skills to use. The whole point of a place like Site 3 is that it lets us pool our resources to be able to buy tools that normally we just could not afford. That giant CNC mill you see in the background is something that an individual just could not buy on their own, and even if they could, they need a place to store it. Takes a lot of expertise to run, and that's really hard for an individual.
Anything that anybody wants to do here, they can come and do it.